when we are dealing with difficult situations in the world, it can be less attractive to go inwards because we tend to be kind of stirred up. We have a built-in preference in our survival mechanism, our primitive brain, for peace and safety, of course. And when there's anything going on in the world or in our personal lives that threaten that, then it seems to be a natural tendency for most of us to not sit for meditation or not turn inward. We tend to have a lot of outward momentum going on at those times. Ironically, it's the very time when we really do need to be doing our relaxation practices and breathing and taking good care of ourselves, getting enough sleep. As we start today, let's acknowledge that that's the situation for at least some of us here. And we'll work with that. We'll start with a relaxation in perhaps difficult situations. We don't really have to focus on the difficult situation. Usually those thoughts are pretty up and center. There's a good reason for that. It helps us to survive if we're aware of danger. And it can also be kind of dysfunctional in our minds when that's going on all of the time. One thing that we can do to work with that is to focus on something else for a while. In these practices, we'll often focus on our body and on softening any tightness or contraction that we might find in our bodies. We work with our breath, both in the evenness and continuity of the breath, as well as using our breath as a focus for our mind. And we don't reject or turn away from thoughts, and we also don't let them be the center stage all of the time. There are many layers of our mind that aren't involved in the thought stream, and we can use those layers as well. We can observe or witness the lower level of the mind, that thought stream that is coming through, that's grabbing our attention. We can notice if what's going on in that layer of the mind is healthy, or if there's some dysfunction in it, there's some kind of anxiety perhaps that's running the show there. That's part of being able to observe or witness our experience. Even as we're not fighting the thoughts in the mind and we're not rejecting what's going in our thoughts, we're also not compelled to let them be the front all the time. So when we're not completely focusing on thoughts, then we free up some attention for other things like our bodies, our breath, the larger space of awareness, the silence that is also here. Bring your attention to your whole body from head to toes. We get a general overall sense of what's happening in our bodies when we do that. We get a sense of the breath and the rhythm of our breath. We can relax our shoulders, relax our whole body. If there are intrusive thoughts, let them be in the background. As soon as you notice that you've gotten a bit involved with your thoughts, just refocus again on the body or the breath. We'll attend to thoughts later. Bring your attention into your forehead and eyebrows. Softening all of those muscles in this area can also help to release worry or tension. You could move your eyebrows up and down, and then relax all those small, subtle muscles in the forehead area. If there are any anxious thoughts that are also there, just in the background, let them be less in the foreground for a bit. Let them not be what you're really paying attention to. And focus most of your attention just on that little area of the forehead, the eyebrows, and let the muscles soften. And relax the whole mechanism of sight, the muscles around the eyes as well, and the deep muscles in the eyes. Notice that there is air flowing over the membranes of your nose. For a moment, let's focus on that flow of breath. There is a rhythm and a pace to our breath. The most relaxing way to breathe is when we're about even on the exhale and the inhale, and when the breath is continuous. If you notice that there are large gaps or pauses or jerkiness, see if you can allow the breath to focus and smooth out and relax just with your attention. And noticing again what's happening in your forehead and eyebrows. Let that continue to be soft and smooth. Move your attention down into your jaw, your mouth, your throat, vocal cords. That whole mechanism of speech and swallowing. Move your lower jaw back and forth a moment. Allow the hinges of the jaw to soften and relax. Notice that right now there's no need for vocalizing, even sub-vocalizing. Let that whole mechanism rest for a moment. The whole mechanism of action through speech is pretty busy for most of us. It's nice to allow that to rest. Notice your forehead, the flow of breath in the nose, your jaw and mouth, down into the front and sides of the neck, to the back of the neck. And notice the whole back of your body, the muscles of the shoulders and the upper back in particular. And notice if there is any tightness in that area or any kind of contracted energy. If it's possible to allow all of that to settle and soften. It's common for the shoulders to come up around the ears when we're stressed about something or anxious. Even if there's a little bit of activation in there, see if you can allow it to soften some more. Let your shoulders relax down. When we're worried about something or feeling threatened in some way, when there is distress in our experience, then often this will be an area that is activated. Take an extra moment to soften. Let your awareness flow from the back of the neck, through the shoulders, through the upper back. And each time that you relax, allow that whole area to soften. If there's any sense of concern or being on guard, see if you can allow that to release just for a few minutes while we're doing the practice. We can trust that that defense mechanism will be there when we need it. We don't need to keep it activated right now. Take a few deeper breaths and notice if you can feel any movement in your back of your body with your breath. Sometimes with a deeper breath, we'll feel that in the lower rib cage at the back. And notice the sides of your rib cage and the front. There's large muscles that cover the chest. And the rib cage protects the organs on the inside. In your heart center, notice if there's any sensation or energy that you could attend to. And bring your attention as well into your stomach area, the navel center and lower belly. This area is often the seat of fear and anxiety. And when there are things that are going on in the world that are causing fear and anxiety, then we'll often have a bit more energy here. Sometimes it can get quite tight or contracted. Sometimes it's not so evident, but it's a good idea to focus here for a moment. We can also anchor our attention to our breath as we're in this area of the body. The body really moves with the breath. Allow part of your attention to be focused on the energy or sensations that are in your chest and stomach, and part of it to focus on the breath. Allow your breathing to be continuous and smooth, without any pauses or breaks. Let the breath be continuous. An effective way to work with intrusive thoughts is to really pay attention at the end of your exhale. As you're turning into your inhale, really try to pay attention to that transition in the breath. Smoothly into the inhale. And then as soon as you finish breathing in, paying very focused attention as you start that exhale. Really focus on the transition points in the breath. Very stabilizing for the mind to have that kind of a focus. And allow your breath to be effortless and smooth. In part, we do this by relaxing all of the muscles involved. If your mind is carried off into a train of thoughts, try to let that be okay. We don't need to give ourselves a hard time for that. It's a natural part of the mind. And we can also bring ourselves back, Really focus in on what's going on with the breath. Being aware of our whole body from head to toes, including the arms and the legs, the hands and the feet. Let your awareness be grounded in the present moment through that focus on the body and the breath. And include whatever it is that's happening in your mind, in your attention, so that we're paying attention to the body, the breath, and the thoughts in the mind. Focus on softening through your forehead, all those little muscles of the forehead and the eyebrows, and then bring to mind whatever it is that you're concerned about right now. Keep that focus partly on the thought and partly on your smooth, relaxed forehead. We're just acknowledging that whatever is here is here. Sometimes there will be anxious thoughts. Sometimes that will settle and we'll have more calm and space in the mind. It's all part of our experience, part of what we can attend to. Bring your attention down into your heart center, letting the thought move a bit to the background, still aware of your body and your breath. If you like, you could place a hand on your heart. Notice if you can have a feeling of compassion and kindness for yourself. It's not easy when we have fear and anxiety, when there are things going on in our lives that are difficult. Notice if you can have some compassion for yourself. And the mind might come in with all kinds of reasons why you don't deserve it, or it might not. But whatever's happening, just stay focused on that energy. Notice in your heart center if you could cultivate a feeling of kindness and compassion for yourself. Relax through your forehead and eyes, jaw, the neck, back of the neck and shoulders, through your chest and stomach. Let your body be relaxed, your attention focused inward. There might be images coming up. That's fine. And as you're breathing and relaxing and focusing on your heart center, take a moment to send out a wish for peace, for calm, whatever it is that you would like to extend to other people. Allow that kindness and compassion to flow out to everyone. Remain aware of your body. Soften your forehead and eyebrows. Let your shoulders relax down. Be aware of your breathing and the continuity of your breath. And of this allowing our experience to be exactly as it is. In a moment, we're going to complete the practice and go about our day. For now, just notice again what your experience is from head to toes. Notice your body, your breath, your energy. That you are able to observe your experience. And that knowing of the space in which all of this arises and is seen, that it plays out. And remind yourself that later in the day, you can always tune back into the softness of the muscles in the forehead and the eyebrows. That really helps with anxious or fearful thoughts. And when you're ready, open your eyes.